Hello students. Now today we are going to learn about the classification of commercial organizations on the basis of objectives. On the basis of objectives, commercial organizations may be classified into two broad categories. These are profit making organization and non-profit making organization. These all are the two types of organization. So first is profit making organization. Profit making organization refers to those organizations which are formed for the purpose of earning profit, because this is profit making organization, so the purpose is to earn profit, and such organizations are engaged in some business activities. They sell goods and services and aim only to earn profit. So this is all about the profit making organization, and this type of organization is formed only for the purpose of profit. Now the next is non-profit making organization. Non-profit making organization refers to those organizations which do not aim at earning profit. In this, no profit motive aim is there. Now their purpose is to social service and public welfare, to serve the society. So this is all about the profit making and non-profit making organization. Now some different types of non-profit making organizations are, first is Commonweal Organization. Commonweal Organization means these organizations are formed for the benefit of the society as a whole. Police service, fire service, defense service, these all are the examples of Commonweal Organization, because in this organization they serve to the society as a whole. Next is Municipal Organization. Municipal organization are formed for providing water, electricity, sanitation and other essential services to public. Next is Political Organization. These organizations are formed for protecting and promoting political interest of their members. Next, Mutual Benefit Organization. These organizations are formed for the benefit of their members and the public, just like club, trade unions, consumer associations, chambers of commerce, etc., because there is a mutual benefit organization. Next is Charitable Organization. These organizations are formed to provide financial and other facilities in kind to the poor and needy people, and they run night shelters, organize blood donation camp, help people during natural calamities. So this is only the charitable organization which is formed to provide the financial and other type of facility to the poor and needy people. Next is Religious Organization. These organizations are formed for providing facilities for religious activities, just like temples, masjids, gurudwaras, churches. Next is Health Organization. These organizations are formed for providing medical facilities free of charge or at subsidized rate. Charitable hospitals and dispensaries and government hospitals, these all are the examples of health organization. Next is Educational Organization. These organizations are formed for providing educational facilities free of charge or at subsidized rate. IITs, IIMs, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, universities are the examples of educational organization. So these all are the different types of non-profit making organization. Now our next topic is classification of commercial organization on the basis of ownership structure. Ownership structure means that the pattern of ownership of a commercial organization. It indicates as to who owns the organization and its assets. So there are several forms of ownership structure. First is private sector enterprises. Private sector enterprises means that when the ownership is in the hands of the person other than the government, because there are two types of enterprises, private and public. So first is private sector enterprises. In this enterprises, ownership is in the hands of the person other than the government, and the enterprises is known as private enterprise. Private sector consists of all those business undertakings which are owned and controlled by the private person or a private businessman. Now some characteristics of private sector enterprises are, first is private ownership and control. A private sector undertaking is fully owned and controlled by one or more private businessman. It may be owned by one individual or by a group of individuals jointly. Now the second is profit motive. The main objective of private sector undertakings is earning profit. Profits provide the reward for the risk assumed and the required return on capital. Third is no state participation. There is no participation by the central or state governments in the ownership and control of a private sector undertaking. Next is private finance. The capital of a private sector undertaking is arranged by its owners. Next, independent management. A private sector undertaking is managed by its owners. The owners may manage the enterprises themselves or through their elected representatives. So this is all about the characteristics of private sector enterprises. Private sector enterprises means that the ownership is in the hands of a person other than the government. Now the second is public sector enterprises. Public sector enterprises means that business enterprises owned and operated by the government or any of its agencies are called public enterprises. Private was in the hands of the person, but in the public sector it is owned and controlled by the government. Now the characteristics of public sector enterprises are: first is state ownership. Public sector undertakings are fully owned by the government or some public authority. Second is government control. The ultimate control of a public sector undertakings with the government. Next is service motive. The primary objective of a public sector undertaking is to render service to the public at large. In order to serve the public, it may earn some surplus, some profit. Next is public accountability. The money invested in public enterprises is public money. Therefore, these enterprises are answerable to the public through the parliament. Now, the third type of enterprises are joint sector enterprises. There are three types of enterprises: private sector, public sector and joint sector enterprises. So, joint sector enterprises means enterprises owned partly by the government and partly by the private businessmen. This is a mixture of the public sector and the private sector. So, this is called as a joint sector enterprises. Joint sector consists of all those business concerned wherein ownership, management and control are shared jointly by the government and the private businessmen. Now, some characteristics of joint sector enterprises are: mixed ownership, means the government and the private entrepreneurs and the investing public jointly own a joint sector enterprise. Second, combined management. The management and control of a joint sector enterprises lies with the nominees or representative of the government, private businessmen and the public. Third is share capital. The share of the government, private businessmen and the public in the capital are 26%, 25% and 49% respectively. The aim is to pool the financial resources and technical know-how of the state and the private individuals. So, these all are the three types of enterprises: private, public and joint. So, today this chapter is finished in this video. In the next video, we will start with the new chapter. So, that's all for today. Thank you.